All right. So once again, I'm live with an old friend, Sakima Bey. I ain't seen him in a while, but he's back.
Yeah.
You still teaching or what? What's up?
Yeah, we out for the summer now.
I know. Yeah.
Graduation was Friday.
How did students do?
Horrible. They can't read. They can't write. 8th grade, social studies. That's what I teach, along
What?
with when I do law.
Damn, man. You know what? That wasn't gonna be my opening topic, but you know what? I do gotta actually, since you are a school teacher, I do gotta talk about 5 minutes of the education system of what's going on. What's it look like? What's the environment like first?
They just arrested a teacher. I'm in North Carolina. They just arrested a teacher in Houston, Texas. A sister and her son.
Oh,
she
yeah.
was a cousin at a high school. Hold on a second. She was twerking in the class, taking her clothes off, getting naked, bending over in front of students, spreading her cheeks, and then hooking up the girl students in her high school class to be pimped by her son, putting them up in hotels. The teacher across the hall,
yeah, I heard about this, man.
Daughter was sucked up into that. She told her mother that she found the next day. She went and told the principal. They had a meeting. They fired the teacher. She went to the school board. This was back in February 2023. So the teacher her son was pimping the students, and she was the high school teacher. She was stripped in front of the class, twerk in front of the class. So February, all this came out. So all from February to August, nothing was done. Start the new year. September to April, nothing was done until the middle of April. Then they went in and fired her. She's in jail now, and the son. So the school where I'm at, they everything's about their cell phone. They're not supposed to have cell phones in the class. We take them, but they sneak them. They got earbuds in their ear. We take those. They sneak them. It's horrible, man. And they think that they're going to get over when they get out of high school.
Now, where is this in the Charlotte area? Probably, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's like this all over the country, but where I'm at is in Charlotte,
Mecklenburg County, something like that.
Yep.
I pretty much I used to come to Charlotte area. I pretty much got every idea. But the crazy thing about Charlotte is also a lot of techies were moving there years ago. It was like a big tech hub for people who wanted to get into tech.
Yeah, you can't. The traffic is worse than Atlanta.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's they're building up all these apartments.
Yeah,
getting around the city is ridiculous. You can. If you just want to go, huh?
Especially in daytime.
Yeah. If you just want to go right over there, you got to go down 3 blocks, go across 5 blocks, then come back all the way back where you came from to come down and then cut across.
So let me ask a question. How did the students as a collective body treat you per se?
Well, I was teaching them some of the stuff that I deal with, and we were trying, and I would show some videos to verify a lot of stuff. And one of the administrator of the curriculum last year, one day, because they go around checking and monitoring classes, and they saw that I was showing these clips, and they told me I can't show videos more than 10 minutes. Have to stop it, have a discussion. Well, that's what I was doing anyway. But I wasn't stopping it after 10 minutes. I may show something for 4 minutes, pause it, explain that, go back into it, and I show the whole video. We couldn't show the whole video. That's one thing. So they were responding to me based on a lot of things I was imparting to them about the stuff that we know, the stuff that I talk about. And we would have those kind of discussions. And then there was the ones that really loved that. So they really enjoyed that aspect because I would then talk to them about real life situations. About what to be expected when you graduate from high school, etc. So they really liked my teaching because I didn't teach a traditional way.
Well, let me ask you a question. I'm in Virginia. All right. So you know the critical race theory bull crap and all that shit, right?
Yeah, DEI crap.
Yeah, right. DIE, right?
And it's being erased.
But let's put it like this. So we had a teacher. I think he just retired or he's about to retire. I think he did retire, matter of fact. But he said the only problem with the teaching stuff, he said it wasn't so much about the critical race theory and all that. He said it wasn't so much about the history. He said the fact that he said they basically want the teacher to be a robot and basically you stick to this curriculum verbatim. If you don't do it, they were threatening people with their jobs.
That's true. That's how it was.
That's how it was. They were getting that far with it.
Yeah.
Like you almost had to read this thing almost like an outline.
Yep, that's exactly correct.
And he had been teaching for and he said he thought this was just going on in city school, but no, they started moving it further out. So they've actually infiltrated the whole school system somehow. Yeah,
some states and some school districts don't teach that, don't push that. And they don't, because where I am, they don't push it, they don't bring it up, and they don't talk about the tranny stuff.
Good.
Because they don't do that. So there's no books in the library regarding that.
Well, let me ask you a question since you brought that up. You got certain schools that basically were telling children around the country, you don't have to even tell your parents we teach you in here.
Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Now, how can you be that crazy? Because I didn't know my child doing.
Yeah.
Now, if you remember in D.C., I got a friend of mine in D.C. Matter of fact, I might need to send him your way, come think about it. His child was they tried to put a device in his arm. and they said, you ain't got to tell your daddy. They took them to court and won.
Yeah, they do have to tell you.
Yeah. They took them to court and won.
Yeah.
So, but it goes to show you that the school system is being pushed in your face right now. So
they're being hijacked.
It's being hijacked by Marxists.
Yep.
And
communists, socialists.
But let's go with since you brought communist socialists, let's bring up something. Now I'm sure you know this, man. Around the country, quote unquote, black women, I guess, are the face of
confusion and chaos.
Confusion, chaos, diversity, whatever, right?
Yeah.
You got Tiffany Henyard, Fannie. I can go on. You can go to your local school board. I had a guy tell me in the
mayor of Louisiana,
at the gym,
New Orleans.
At the gym, a guy told me, look, he has no problem with the students. He said he don't have no problem with the male teachers. He said the problem is, he told me, he said, BJ, I'm letting you know. He said, you're a smart guy. He said, this principal, black female, teachers, administrator. He said, all it. And then you got to deal with the parents. He said, this shit is a hellhole.
Yeah, my principal is a woman too. And it's the one before her was a female too. And the school was horrible. She said, that was last year. She said, If the students didn't like it, they can get up, walk out the class, go to the walk, go see her, find her, and she come back. Could you let them in the class? Could you do this or do that? Yeah, that's how she was doing. They fired her at the end of the year, the school board, because she was such a faulty leader as a principal. So they moved her into an administrative office in the school board. No, I'm sorry. They moved her to a elementary school. She got an elementary school.
Yeah.
And the principal we got now, she's a little better, but it's still crazy. They scared of the parents. And I would tell them in the teachers' meetings, in the meetings we have, I said, you've heard of Joe Clark, right? They're scared to take the phones. Some of the high schools in Charlotte don't allow students to have phones.
What?
In high school. You walk in the building, there's tables on both sides. You walk up to the table where your homeroom teacher bucket is, put your phone in, they lock your phone in, they take all the phones, wheel them on a table, and wheel them into a big steel door room. And you get them at the end of the day.
Okay, do they have metal detectors in school too?
Yeah. If you found with a phone in your school in some of the high schools here, not only do they take your phone, you get suspended 3 days.
Okay. Now, I'm glad you mentioned it. So we talking about, because it's some legal repercussions going here. I want to bring something up about these people that on the school board. Now, we know a lot of these people teach for America, coming up through the ranks, getting a lot of headway that way, right? So the thing that gets me is that I know you've seen this. I mean, you probably like, what the hell? Now you realize the school is almost like a celebrity culture now. They done brought Sexy Red and some of these rappers to these schools.
Yes, dumb.
Now, who is behind this nonsense? And what would a student need to be learning about Sexy Red? She ain't no educator. Right? So I'm actually going, because we had a situation down here in Virginia where, we had some young girls, they had to be rushed to the emergency room because they was, chewing them edibles in school, edible gummies. Yeah, they had to go, they had to go to the hospital and everything. 2 of them, I think 4 of them was hurt bad, and 2 of them might have been, there's some reactions. But I asked the guy about it. He said, man, they do that all the time. And he also said the worst fights in the schools are the girls now. The boys now ain't getting to fight like these. It's the girls.
Yeah, it's always the girls. The one in my school too is the girls.
Now, this is the last thing I'm gonna bring up about this subject. Have you been realizing this? I've been realizing it too. I just be riding around Richmond or whatever. Have you realized that a lot of these girls that come to these schools, they already be like butch looking like at 15, 14, 13. You realize that, right? So the transgender thing is really taking its effect, or the lesbian thing. They don't have to wait to be a lesbian when they get to.
It's in the home.
Huh?
It's in the home.
And
I had a student. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I got a student that was in my homeroom. She's a lesbian, dressed like a dude. And when new students were coming in over the course of this year, and the word get out, new student, pretty girl, etc., like the dudes would say, oh, I got to go meet her. She would be like, oh, I got to go get with that. I got to go meet her, get that, talk to her, try to pull her. They would be competing for that. Yep.
And the last thing I was going to say, you talk about the parents, the guy that I referenced before, he also told me that like you say something to the child, if that child got a cell phone call, he said one time a woman came up there, and almost like she said, don't you talk to my child that way. If my child want to call me, he can. You ain't no goddamn body. He was like, he said he looked at me and I looked at him. He said, man, I am a 6'8" strong black man. He said these women do not know that literally
like do that.
Men could really fuck them up if they really
they out of their mind.
But he said, but as we said, they're out of their mind. But he said they're coming to the school with it now. It is not what you think it is. He said they're out of their mind with what they're doing, because he said that you back in the day, you call a parent, be like, hey, you know, child, blah, 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 having a fuss. So, and like, so now, you better be careful this child don't tell the parent the wrong thing, because the parent might come and do something to you, because we had a situation last year, not this graduation, but last year, where the boy had just graduated and somebody was mad with the boy, shot him and the dad and killed him at the graduation. That was last year. Yeah, he got killed right outside the Altria Theater in Richmond. Matter of fact, this year, the children, they had graduation, but they didn't want to have a graduation. Some children just wanted to get their diplomas and go home. They didn't even want to have a ceremony because they feared that would happen again. But it didn't happen. But they're just letting you know that. Now, speaking of things, since you used to be out in New York, they had a recent case of Mr. Trump, I guess, up there in New York City, with something with Alvin Bragg and Stormy Daniels. What's your thoughts on it, man? Since you know the law, you tell me about it. What do you think, man? It's kind of crazy, bro.
People don't remember that when Bragg got in office, his predecessor, they were brought that up and they said, we're not prosecuting that. That's a joke, and it's not a crime.
It's not a crime.
Bragg got in. They tried to get him to do it. He looked at it. He said, no, I'm not prosecuting that. I'm not going up because that is not a crime. It's nothing. Then he had a meeting with the Democrat leadership of the Biden administration, and they gave him some money to go after Trump and make up a charge.
That's right.
Because if there was a charge, it was only a misdemeanor. That's all it was. So he attached it. He created a charge, attached it to some type of statute of campaign records, which never happened, and ran with it. Didn't allow evidence, didn't allow experts to speak on Trump's behalf. On the stand, Stormy Daniels said she never had sex with him. And that the NDA was signed between her and Cohen, and Trump. They showed it, and Trump never signed it. His signature's not on it. He was told about it. She said, we never had sex. She said that on the stand. Then when they put Cohen on the stand, he said, he came out and said that he stole money, $60,000 from Trump. And all of that evidence they ignored because the citizens of New York don't like Trump, and they didn't care. He's going to win on appeal, and all that's going to be thrown out. Now, this other stuff about one of the jurors' cousin was told.
You saw that tweet, right? You saw that tweet. You saw that tweet,
yeah, but it's not true. From what we're finding out so far, it's not true, which could have derailed the case, but they're investigating it anyway. So it's going to appeal, and it's going to be overturned. It's going to be overturned. Fannie Willis is going to go to jail. The attorney for Young Thug.
Yeah. I know Young Thug. Yeah.
His attorney, they just fired because he got information from what I call an ex parte meeting that a specific person had a private meeting with the judge in his chambers about perimeters of the case, and Young Thug's attorney got that information because he wasn't there, and he brought it up in court, and the judge got pissed off and said, how did you get that information? Who told you that? He said, I'm not telling you that. Attorney-client privilege. They went back and forth. He said, well, if you don't tell me, I'm going to hold you in contempt and have you arrested. So the judge got off the stand. So I'm gonna give you 5 minutes to make a decision. Then the officer went over to try to take his notes. He said, I'm not giving you my notes. The attorney for Young Thug is a white man. The judge of the case is a brother. The officer that came over to him is a brother. So today, I think it was, they arrested the attorney for Young Thug in the courtroom. Judge said, arrest Mr. So-and-so. I forgot his name. So he had to get up, take his sport jacket off, took his tie off, and then they walked him into the back and prosecuted him and put him in jail for contempt. Which means this. This is under the DA of Fulton County. Because the DA office is prosecuting this. They've been prosecuting this brother for like about 3 or 4 years. So what's happening, you're seeing the attorneys for the DA's office are just doing some shisty, underhand stuff where all the cases are just falling apart, running amok. And it's at the hand of the district attorney, who is Fannie Willis, who's going to eventually go to jail and get up and get this barred.
Fannie Willis been in the news a lot lately too. Dr. Sakima Bey for things that happen. Fannie Willis, she's been in the news a lot lately. What do you think about her going to the pulpit to, I guess, ask for forgiveness?
She's delusional. She's delusional. She's delusional because she thinks that now, one of the things that is true in her defense is that she is charged over her own budget, like the sheriffs and the chief of police and the mayors. But the problem is you cannot take federal money and do what you want, because the girl that was her assistant in the office was the grant writer. And they're doing an investigation under the state senator of Georgia. And the girl had to go testify to the state senator. And the girl was given information that when the money came, Fannie told Fannie and the other guy, I forgot his name. They said that we're going to use this money to get computers, travel, and get some swag. Swag means they were going to buy coffee mugs, t-shirts, pens, letterhead, everything else with Fannie Willis's name on it. And other officers of the district attorney's office with their name on it. So she took federal. You can't take federal. And just like the girl that wrote the grant, she said, when she said that she was going to do that, I told her she can't do that. She got upset and told me, this is what we're going to do. This is where it's going to be. And I need you to hear me clearly. And then dismissed her from the office. And then they went ahead and did it. And then Fannie fired her. So the girl's got a lawyer now. So she's suing Fulton County and Fannie Willis. The girl's going to win, get her job back. Fannie's going to get arrested. Because Fannie thinks that she can do what she wants with her money, but you can up until when you receive federal money from a state or city, there are accountability precedents that you must adhere to. You can't take federal money to do anything else but what it was given to you for. And it was for opening. It was opening for an adolescent juvenile center to send juveniles to be processed and stay. Because it was for, I think it was 30 million or 300 million. Something like this, 30 million, 8 million in one, I think 30 million on another, and she spent all the money. She's just spending money. None of the centers.
That's a question. Because I'm glad you bring this case up. But the news media will not tell you about this case. The only thing they'll tell you about the thing with Fannie going after Trump. So that's how crazy this thing is. She got other stuff going on way behind that. People not getting trial dates past their time.
Been there 4 and 5 years.
The teachers back in the day, she probably remember all them teachers down there about 8 years ago. A lot of things got Fannie with his hands on it. They're not even something with Trump.
That's why she get in trouble.
Yeah. So people don't know that she locked up a lot of teachers too in that teaching scandal or whatever. That was years ago. So it goes to show you that she got a lot of different. And I think that she was messing around with Mondo, one of them guys that she was defense attorney for.
Yeah, she was. I got a partner that lives in Atlanta, and I was up there in the midst of the trial visiting, and he was telling me, I said, bro, so what's going on with the face? He said, man, she's effing the brother on trial. I was like, what? He said, man, everybody knows she been having sex with him. She cut it off when she got with Nathan Wade.
Hey, that's some shit. I tell you, I knew it.
Yeah.
But look though, because I'm telling you, the guy had the video. He said that he always viewed her as an auntie, but that could just mean that she older than him. That don't mean he won't have sex with her.
Yeah, she was.
Boy. Now look, and she said she won't do it with Nathan Wade neither. Remember?
I know, which was a lie.
She said she was.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you, I don't give a damn who the hell the woman has sex with.
Right.
That ain't my goddamn business. That wasn't the issue. But you know, like you said, she went up, like you said about the other person. She went up and met up there, like Nathan, Alvin Bragg. She went and met with the administration too.
Yeah, she went to New York. I mean, she went to D.C. Wade went to D.C. They spent over, they said, 8 hours discussing how to go after Trump and all those other associates. And they were giving her information to use from the January 6th investigation of Congress to use in Atlanta. That's what is called conflict of interest. That's a display of impropriety. That's an appearance of judicial prosecutorial misconduct.
Okay. Well, now look, something happened the other day in Evanston, Illinois. I want you to break this down. I'm going to play the video. I'm going to let you comment on it.
Reparations to its Black residents. Evanston, Illinois became the first municipality in the U.S. to launch a government-funded program. But a conservative group has filed a class action lawsuit claiming the program discriminates against non-Black residents. For more on this, let's bring in Emmanuel Felton. He's a race and ethnicity reporter for the Washington Post who has been covering this story. What are the grounds for this lawsuit?
Yeah, so the conservative group Judicial Watch argues that this program discriminates against non-Black residents of Evanston. So under Evanston's reparations program, if you lived in the city between 1919 and 1969, or you're the descendant of someone who did, and you're Black, you qualify for reparations, because the argument is during those 50 years, Evanston instituted a bunch of racist, segregationist housing policies that deprive wealth from the Black residents of town. So they're saying this is our effort to rebuild the wealth that we deprived from you. Whereas Judicial Watch says, you haven't proved exactly who was harmed by these policies. And so by opening it up to all Black residents, you're discriminating against non-Black residents. And this is really part of a larger wave of conservative challenges against programs that came up after George Floyd's murder, right? So we're seeing, with the last year's Supreme Court decision in the affirmative action case, that the court are very weary of these programs that give benefits to certain ethnic groups. And that's sort of having a clash with all of these programs, both in the government and in private sector. Like, just recently this week, a program that was going to give Black women in Georgia who were starting businesses grants was struck down by an appellate court. So there's sort of a clash here between, how do we fix our age-old problems of racial discrimination in a way that really satisfies a federal judiciary that's really only interested in a race-blind policy.
Do you think the city will fight this all the way? I mean, what are they vowing to do?
That's what they're saying. They refuse to comment for the story, citing pending litigation, but they're saying they vehemently support this program, and they're looking to fight it all the way up. And it's a program that they're very proud of. Evanston is very proud of being the first in the nation to institute something like this. But when you're the first, you open yourself up to challenges that hopefully if you're the second or third, you've learned from what didn't work for the first.
The people are at the center of this, who would be the recipients of reparations. What are they telling you about this legal fight?
Yeah, well, it's already happened. So Evanston's already paid nearly 200 people $25,000 each. So this is something that is already changing lives in Evanston. The question is, for all the people who were, so essentially how it worked is they pulled like bingo balls. And so if you were later in the poll, you were later in the wait list. So there's still hundreds of people on this wait list. And the question is what it will mean for them. It's already changed. From the people I've talked to, it's already, I don't know if it's 25,000 has changed their lives as much as it felt like a significant acknowledgement to them of the harm that was really caused here and across the country by housing policy for 50 years that, really deprived Black folks for the ability to build wealth in the same way that white folks were able to with programs like the GI Bill and such.
I got to be real quick with you on this, but do you think other communities are watching what happens here before they institute one of their own reparations programs?
Absolutely. This is something that it's already happening across the country. There are already people trying to institute these programs, and they're going to look to Evanston to see, well, here, what will the courts say here? I mean, we know in California, for instance, they tried to craft a class as they discussed the reparations program that wasn't necessarily race-based, but based on the fact that you were the descendant of a slave or a person who was enslaved in the United States. And so maybe the court will be more friendly on something like that. We just don't know yet.
Okay.
Let me bring something up about this whole thing right here. Number one, if you read this thing from Evanston, Illinois, the shit is a damn joke. It won't never a $25,000 grant, man. That ain't gonna get you nowhere buying a house today for real. Just being honest. This shit was a damn
last
joke.
6 months.
Huh?
It'll just last them 6 months.
I said, what do you think about this crazy thing, man? See, this was a trick bag they pulled. And it ain't that many people living in Evanston. Well, go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and bring it down.
Yes, it's mainly the distraction. There ain't a lot of Black people out in that area, is it?
No. but it let me know how far they gonna go. Now this actually happened around the BLM stuff and all that. Actually, they've been real silent. Now I'm gonna ask you a question, since because we did talk about education earlier, and I got this clip right now that you told me about with this YSL thing, because it got the heat exchange in the courtroom, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I got it right over here. I'm gonna play it too. But all this stuff, I know you was in class. I know you down there in Charlotte. But Charlotte got some areas like Duke University, North Carolina, Charles Hills, whatever. What did you think about all these college protests that were going on, man? Because a lot of stuff was some staged nonsense, man.
They have done a magnificent job in miseducating the youth in America over the last 50 years.
You're right. You're right.
And these children don't even know anything about the history of this country. Or even they don't know anything about from 1950 to today. They're not researching all those things. So they're just going by what they're being told.
Exactly.
Today.
Number one, let's get some stuff straight here. let's get some stuff straight. Because you know they say, oh, they talk about Hamas and this attack on Israel, right? Hey, Sakima Bey, can I ask you a real question? Who created Hamas? It was
Israel.
It's a clown show, man. Oh my goodness. I'm like, the leaders live in Qatar, London. Hamas ain't no army. It's a little group. Qatar in London. They know who they are. This thing was all a stage psyop. What happened, Sakima Bey? Can I go over this right quick? Let me bring this up. In September, if you remember this, I know you remember. It was just when school year started, but you remember this. Zelensky came to Congress. Remember he came to Congress?
Begging for money.
Benjamin Netanyahu came to Congress. Yep. Benjamin Netanyahu told him, you cannot give money to Israel without giving money to Ukraine.
I remember that. It was the other way.
Yeah. And then what happened? Then Biden said, we got to give money to Israel, but who they give money to? They gave money to Ukraine and Taiwan at the same time. And you had most of the Congress vote on this shit. Then what else happened, Sakima Bey? They said, oh, y'all speaking against Israel. Well, guess what? Jonathan Greenblatt, CEO of the Anti-Defamation League, said that what? If you talk about Israel, you're anti-Semitic. Okay, how far did they go with this, Sakima Bey? They said, we need to pass an anti-Semitism bill to stop you from talking about Jewish people. Okay, now let me ask you a question, Sakima Bey. An anti-Semitism bill, wouldn't that be a violation of the First Amendment?
And the Constitution of due process.
Exactly.
And 14th Amendment. It's a total obliteration of the Constitution itself.
Exactly. Because you're saying I can't say nothing about you, right? But I can't say nothing about you, but you actually showing me the power you got. And everybody know what it is. And guess what? You got people. Guess what, Sakima Bey? The so-called Black Caucus support this anti-Semitism bullshit.
Yeah, they do. But they're paid off. See, there's an organization called the Israel Lobby.
That's right, AIPAC.
And any black person that comes into Congress, they have a meeting with them. And they tell them, you're going to need money for your reelection.
Yep.
We will supply you with the funds necessary for you to win re-election if you vote in our interest. Every congressional Black Caucus member has voted in that way, has accepted the money for Israel Lobby.
I'm gonna give you one guy name right off the bat. No. Look, it's a guy down in St. Louis. Matter of fact, you know Cori Bush?
Yeah.
She spoke against Israel, but the guy Wesley Bell supports Israel. Guess who getting the most money? Wesley Bell.
Wow.
And he might beat out Cori Bush. And I think both of them garbage. But here's the problem. If you do not stand with AIPAC, they're going to make sure they get the money. They offer the guy named Hill Hopper $20 million to run against somebody who didn't support Israel. So you got to understand, if you're not lock, stop, and barrel with them, they actually showing you. They can just rip the election out from under your feet, regardless of what you.
Yeah, like they did Trump. And
Israel is backing these people.
Yeah, like they did Trump. Carrie, the girl that ran in Arizona, they stole it from her. The governorship. Carrie Lake.
Yep, Carrie Lake.
They stole it from her. And they did it. It's just, I'll tell you what, if Trump don't get back in office, you can forget America.
Well, I'm going to ask you another question now. Speaking of Mr. Trump, Mr. Trump, you know, I was just telling you about these what do you call it? Demonstrations they had, right?
Right.
Okay, when you look at all these demonstrations, they got queers for Palestine out there, all this stuff. So, you know, This thing been co-opted from the top. They funding, George Soros is funding. You got people, Rockefeller funding one side, George Soros funding this side, and they created all this chaos of these things, right?
Yeah.
But you see how Biden came to Morehouse.
Yeah, and did you see when it was announced by the president of the Morehouse?
And the Morehouse president said what? He said, if y'all protest, we will cancel your graduation.
And they did protest. They turned their chairs backwards.
They turned their chairs back. We talking about like demonstrations and stuff like
that.
Yeah,
walking with signs, not showing up. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I thought that was, but so you're trying to tell your own student they don't have free speech. That's what you're saying?
Exactly. You know, he was paid money by the Democrat Party. They gave money to him for letting them come. Yeah.
Now,
and then he went down there and just lied to the people and just.
I mean, it was crazy, man. But I'm like, why would you get Biden to come speak here, man? Like, this is so bad.
Because they're trying to salvage keeping the black youth. And
it ain't working.
I know, but particularly the black men. Because Morehouse is a black male school.
Yep.
So they went there, was targeted on purpose to try to manipulate the minds of the black men, of the youth, talking to them about being a victim so they can stay as a victim. And as if you're a victim, the government has to protect you. And you don't get to do anything on your own because you're not allowed because you're incompetent.
You got goddamn, they're going to probably about 40 million people undocumented in this country. How are they going to protect you? Shit.
They are illegal aliens.
Exactly. And look, they keep telling you it's 22 million. That was years ago. It's way more than that here.
Yeah.
Now, my ask you a question. About Alex Jones. This thing when you talk about liquidating that. What do you think about that, man? What do you think? That's about
that was a sham. See, Alex Jones' show is a national outlet.
That's right.
Exposing the government Democrat operation in real time because he gets information from some CIA, FBI, Secret Service, military generals, the industrial company, because they don't like what's being done to the country.
That's right.
Plus, his father worked with the CIA. He used to be with the CIA.
But that's what I was trying to tell people. I was trying to tell my buddy, you got to understand, Alex Jones got ties, family ties to CIA, right? So you understand that he getting information. Remember, I don't know you know this, they were trying to come back with masks and stuff like that ran around September. He broke it on his show, and when he brought it up, after he brought it up, they stopped talking about it. He got this word from a TSA official because he brought it up on the show.
Yeah, I remember that. I saw that.
So people got to understand this time that we got censored a lot in 2020, right? They're going to come back second fold and do this shit again. They're actually talking about now over in the World Health Organization just came out and said, Tedros just said, we got to push back on these anti-vaxxers. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. Sakima Bey, didn't Mr. Fauci just have a hearing last week in Congress?
Yeah, I saw that.
And he
lied. They busted him with lies. And they caught him in a lie. They had the emails, they had the documents, and they had phone records.
And he said he only got paid $122.
No, he's bullshit. Yeah, this is crap.
And look, man, and then you had that clown Kwasi and Fume calling him a hero. I'm like, are you serious, man?
Because he's a sellout. All the Black Caucus people, they ain't no damn good.
Now, I'm gonna play this video in a second, man.
All right.
I'm gonna play this video in a second. But I want to ask you a question, man. What's that clown? Now look, before I even play the video, I want to let the audience know what's going on. You seen this thing lately with Brian Donalds and Shop and all this shit, man? Okay.
Yeah, they don't like it because he's a free thinking so-called black male, and other black men are watching him. And because he speaks, right, and they try to discredit him, but they can't because he's too fluid and knowledgeable. He's from the city. He's from Brooklyn. He's from Brooklyn.
Which I was surprised Al Sharpton actually came out and said he's from Brooklyn. That really did shock me that Al Sharpton said that, because he actually gave him credibility when he said it. You see what I'm saying?
Right. See, Al ain't nothing but a sellout. He ain't worth nothing. Al Sharpton only has his show because he's willing to toe the line for the Democrats.
Ain't nobody watching that shit, man.
Ain't nobody watching him. Ain't nobody watching Don Lemon's podcast. Joy Reid. The only reason why those shows are CNN, even CNN is still on, is because Soros is picking up the slack. The money they're losing, Soros is picking up the slack on it. That's why they're firing all these anchors and cutting their salaries, getting rid of these shows. They're trying to create a different dynamic to bring in a different viewer, but it's not going to work because nobody wants to see that. Tucker Carlson doing it out of his house like you got over 20 million viewers. CNN don't even have. CNN has 2 to 3 million at most.
Well, I mean, I just thought it was very disingenuous of Al Sharpton to try to play.
Yeah, because he ain't no good.
Well,
he ain't about nothing.
But it got me. It is something they were talking about with Jim Crow, and I said, "This got to be some crazy stuff, man."
And see what Donaldson, what I was watching it, and Donaldson did not say it. Is that, well, Al, first of all, that's not what I meant. And that's not what I was saying. He said what he said, Donaldson. But then I thought he was going to say Jim Crow laws were created by the Democrat Party. Democrat Congresses of Democrat cities, of Democrat states. Jim Crow laws were created by the Democrat officials. Then you had the black codes. That too, created by Democrat officials, cities, congresses, and states. Right. The Ku Klux Klan was created by the Democrat Party. That was not created by no Republicans. Democrats created all that.
Well, we got a new person that came to the party, man, who talking. Now watch this now. Now, you know, I don't like to really play the clowns, but you ain't believe who came out today and talked about buying Donalds. None other than Kamala Harris. How the hell Kamala Harris can talk about buying Donalds? This woman a damn Indian, man. And I'm sitting there saying, y'all really believe in this shit, man?
Yeah, they gotta have something to spin.
Man, look. Did you see Byron Donalds call Al Sharpton the liar to his face, man?
Yeah. And see, again, Byron Donalds only said that under Jim Crow, black families were intact.
They were.
That's a fact. It's not that Jim Crow caused it. Jim Crow was against them. But when Jim Crow got started by the Democrat leadership, all black families were intact.
That's right. And
Jim Crow slowly attacked the families over time. Then with the black codes, then with the...
But don't you think the Great Society Act was really like another form of Jim Crow, but this time turn apart the family?
What?
The Great Society Act.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what he was talking about. He brought into the Great Society Act, and he said that caused a lot of damage, which it's still today.
Yeah.
You remember when Lyndon B. Johnson said that? Don't forget. He said these niggas getting uppity and we got to give them something, but not enough to make a difference.
And that they will vote Democrat for the next 100 years.
That's what he said. And we're going on about 60.
Mm-hmm.
But look at this, though.
Has tried mostly to stay above the fray. She did blast one person in particular. CNN senior White House correspondent MJ Lee joins us now live. MJ, why is she going after Byron Donalds?
Well, Boris, obviously there are many Democrats that are watching the Veep stakes on the Republican side really closely, and it's clear that Vice President Harris is no exception. According to Politico, the vice president called up a reporter over the weekend to discuss the short list of potential running mates for former President Donald Trump. And Politico said that while she didn't really discuss any specific individuals, the one exception was Congressman Byron Donalds, a Republican from Florida. Let's play a comment that he made last week that appeared to draw the ire of the vice president.
You see, during Jim Crow, the Black family was together. That's right. During Jim Crow, more Black people were not just conservative, because Black people always have been conservative minded, but more Black people voted conservatively.
Vice President Harris telling Politico that those comments are, quote, sadly yet another example of somebody out of Florida trying to erase or rewrite our true history, appearing to be a reference to the fact that Governor DeSantis in Florida has tried to rewrite how Black history is taught at schools in the state of Florida. More broadly, this article was just interesting because it gave you a sense of how Democrats plan on making sure that they describe everyone on the VP shortlist for Donald Trump as being simply a clone of the former president. Boris.
MJ Lee, live from the White House. Thanks so much, MJ.
Kamala Harris is weighing in on her potential VP opponents. The vice president called a political reporter over the weekend to say she's eager to take on whoever Trump picks as his running mate. She said, what we know is that Donald Trump wants an enabler. He doesn't want a governing partner. He doesn't want another Mike Pence. And I think that is clear. The litmus test is, are they going to be absolutely loyal to Trump over country? Are their oath of office, or frankly, the American people? My panel is back. She also went on to attack Trump's potential pick about abortion. Of course, we talked about it before, obviously key messaging for the Democrats. She said everyone on that list has supported a Trump abortion ban in their state or has called for a national abortion ban.
So this is Kamala Harris basically trying to set the table here, obviously. But let me ask you a question, man. Kamala Harris really runs around the country. All she does is talk about abortion and reproductive rights. She don't talk about shit else for real. So it's kind of like bullshit. This is a woman that don't got no children, by the way. Just ask her. Maybe I'm wrong.
She don't.
So what's the problem here?
Bruh, Kamala is a joke. First of all, Kamala was not born in America.
That's right.
She was born in India, the country India. Her father's from Jamaica. Her mother's from India. Her father left Jamaica, moved to India to go to college. There's a program there that he went to be a part of. When he got there, he met Kamala's mother. They started dating, had come out, got married, had Kamala. When she stayed there till she was about between 3 and 5 years old. They moved from India. They moved to Canada, where she was raised, went to elementary school, junior high, high school. And then she tried to apply to get into one of the Ivy League schools, but she didn't have the grades. So she applied under the Minority Scholarship Program. That's how she got to Harvard. I mean, that's how she got to Howard. And Kamala is
why don't you own?
Is a straight nut. She's a nut. But they're saying this because they want to spin. They're spinning what he said. All Byron Donaldson meant was prior to Jim Crow, the Black family was intact, even though they didn't have economic means like they do today. Then Jim Crow gets
inflation killing people. Shit, inflation killing people. They ain't got economic means today.
right, and then Jim Crow was established. When Jim Crow was established, the black families was intact. Jim Crow was partially established to destroy that. That's the way he should have said that, because that's what he meant.
You got a point, man. Hey, look, I agree with you 100%, man, because when I saw this thing, I said, fuck that. That wasn't what he said. Now I'm gonna play something that you that you told me about earlier. Thanks for telling me about it, because I didn't see this today.
Yeah.
The way I understand my constitutional obligations, pursuant to the 6th and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution, the corresponding sections of the Georgia Constitution, I'm required to make a full and complete statement to the court. For the record, and if God forbid this goes up on appeal for the appellate courts or another tribunal, commission, or administrative body, I was told, based upon information and belief, that when we arrived at 8:30, 9 o'clock today, we did not come into your courtroom until almost 11:30. And what I found out just recently, this is not waived, is that supposedly in chambers, this honorable court reporter at times, honorable court at times, district attorney or district attorneys from the DA's office, as well as investigators, sheriff deputies, Mr. Copeland and his counsel met together. None of the defense team, to my knowledge, was aware that this was going on. It was told, based upon information belief, that it was told to the district attorneys that Mr. Copeland intended to plead the Fifth Amendment. Then I was told, based upon information belief, that Adrian Love, the lawyer for Mr. Copeland, and this court were together, and Ms. Love made representations that John Melnick supposedly spoke with some attorneys for the accused and wrote an email to Ms. Love, to Adrian Love, stating that Mr. Melnick does not represent the witness, and that Mr. Melnick wrote an email saying F you, and then somehow that email was CC'd to me. That never.
Mr. Steele, can I interrupt you just a second? I'm kind of disturbed because that's ex parte. All that was an ex parte conversation. How did you find out about any of that?
Well, I'm disturbed too, and the reason
I'm asking you a question. How did you find out about it?
I'm going to ask you the question.
Okay.
Scuttle, if you look at SCUDDER versus state, which is 298 Georgia, 438, it's Division 2, 782 Southeast 2D 638, 2016. Our highest court says when a court meets, because Mr. Copeland comes in, meets with the court supposedly made statements, which I assume is somehow accurate based upon what you just said. We're entitled, Mr. Williams and every other person wrongly charged here is entitled under the Georgia Constitution to be present. That's a critical stage.
It's just like when you meet with me, and you and Mr. Adams meet with me, and others have met with me. It's those are ex parte for a lot of different other reasons, but I will certainly note that for purposes of record.
Well, I'm going forward. What I was told was that Mr. Copeland said,
and you haven't answered my question yet.
I'm not going to answer that question.
You're not?
No, I will not answer that question.
Why will you not answer that question?
Because I want to make sure that what I say is accurate, and I'm not trying to
No.
anybody else.
I'm asking you, how did you get this information?
I'm not telling the court. What I'm saying is based upon information.
Okay, well, listen, if you don't tell me how you got this information, then you and I are going to have some problems.
We can have I have problems right now.
Okay, I know. Look, I don't want to know about your problems, okay, at this point in time. All I'm asking you at this point in time is, how did you come upon this information? Look, if the case gets reviewed, the record's going to be available for our appellate court and for whatever reason. But it's disturbing that how somehow you have surreptitiously gotten information in regards to the court's private ex parte conversation with a party. I mean,
a witness who was sworn in Friday, the court's telling, this is what I was told. If this is not true, not true. This court handed Mr. Copeland.
Tell me how you got the information.
Listen, whatever you want to do.
Tell me how you got the information, then we can go ahead and go forward.
I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is this. I was told, and I hope this concerns the court.
It
I was
concerns me that you have proprietary information.
Why is it
or
proprietary?
information that you should not be having that was ex parte?
Why?
With a party.
Why?
State of Georgia.
How about the witness? How about Mr. Copeland, who supposedly announced he's not testifying and he'll sit for 2 years, and then supposedly this honorable court,
okay.
Or excuse me, let me rephrase that. This court supposedly said, I can hold you until the end of this trial. Ms. Hilton supposedly said actually all of the defendants and then all 26 people are disposed of. If that's true, what this is coercion, witness intimidation, ex parte communications that we have a constitutional right to be present for. So I understand that you're upset towards me, but I don't know what I did.
Mr. Steele, I still want to know, how did you come upon this information? Who told you?
What I want to know is, why wasn't I there? Why,
sir? I'm going to hold you in contempt if you don't tell me who that. Tell me who this information was.
I don't want
to
be held in contempt.
Well,
I'm
then,
not answering that question. That's attorney-client privilege information. I am not answering
attorney-client privilege. Unless you were in my chambers, that's the only way you can figure out.
I am.
I tell you what, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. If you don't tell me,
you don't have to.
If you don't tell me who it is, I'm going to put you. I'm going to put you in contempt because that is not attorney-client privilege.
Attorney work product privilege. I am not.
How did you get that information supposedly from my chambers? Did somebody tell you?
I'm not. You should have told me.
You got 5 minutes.
Well, I don't need it. I want to continue.
You got 5 minutes?
This is what I was told. Mr. Copeland made statements that he admitted to killing Donovan Thomas and was.
Whoa, this is some crazy stuff right here, man. All right, what do you think, man? I know you are too, but what do you think, though, man? It's some crazy stuff right here, man.
Ex parte is a judicial procedure that means for one side only.
Gotcha.
And that's what the judge said. How did you find this out? Where we had this ex parte meeting in my chambers. So that means whoever was in there leaked it and told him. That's what happened. And he said, I'm not telling you. So I'm not telling you. I'm not telling you. He said, so you're just going to have to hold me in contempt and I'll go to jail. So the next clip, there was another clip the next day. I think it was later that day when he comes back out. Then they're going through deliberation, and then the judge said, "Bailiff, could you arrest the attorney so and so?" So he stood up. They walked over to him, whispered something to him. He took his jacket off. He took his tie off. His partner a brother came over. They was talking. Then he walked on out, and when he walked out, he stopped at the podium to speak, to tell the judge about he's going to appeal it and all this other stuff, this, that, and the other. Well, in the meeting with the judge, the dude said, I'm not agreeing to nothing. And I'll just sit in jail. Because I'm not snitching on nothing. Which means that there's no case now. Or there's nothing. They're gonna have to let young thug go. And then they were cussing in there, which usually happens. That happens between attorneys and the judge's chambers. So this ex parte communication, the facts came out for one side, which exonerates his client, because he's raising and said, you can't, what they were discussing is nothing to do with my client, and that they're admitting that he didn't have anything to do with it, basically.
Dang. And this got something to do with Fannie Willis directly, actually, more so than anything.
Yep.
So this is a very interesting case. I got to look into this a little bit more. I'm glad you told me about it. I didn't even know this today. That's an interesting case. So let me ask you one more question before I go. Let me ask you this.
All right. We
got a lot of communist attacks going on. We got weather manipulation. We got this. We got that.
Yeah.
And then they come up with the bird flu now. Deborah Burks on it. They said we should test every worker and test every what is it? Dairy worker and every cow.
Yeah.
Like, you really think tell me after all that stuff they did, they're gonna try to pull this same game back 4 years later, man?
Yeah, they're gonna have to. They're gonna try, because see, if you look and notice, cell phone towers are being put up every 3 miles.
You realize that? But guess what? The cell phone ain't working like it used to. That thing be cutting off and everything now.
Because as they put up these towers every 3 miles, they test the tower, which interferes with the operation of the cell phone. Did you see the movie with Samuel Jackson?
Oh, I bet you gonna leave the world behind because I did Civil War, because I did see the movie Civil War, and that looked like we on right now.
Not that movie. The one it's called
Long Kiss Goodnight.
No,
That's Gina Davis. My bad.
what's the
Recent movie?
Yes, a modern movie. Samuel Jackson wears a baseball hat backwards or to the side, and he talks with a lisp, and he owns a cell phone company.
What's it called? It won't call Cell, was it?
No, it's and it's about in England, they train these secrets agents who go out and protect humanity, but it's an agency in England. And the assistant for Samuel Jackson is a girl. She don't have legs. She's got scissors for feet. And she walks on like them fake legs that they make with the metal.
Yeah, prosthetic.
But her legs are scissors and they can cut, and she knows martial arts. Dad, what's the name of that movie?
It comes to you. Just
So in the movie, it's about him implanting in all of the cell in the satellite that connects to the cell phone towers all over the world. And it's once he gets the program working right, he automatically hits a button, and anybody that's on their cell phone, they get programmed and they turn into this angry person. They start fighting each other by the 5G.
Well, you know what? Well, as I told you earlier, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals said they're not vaccinated. They're not COVID-based.
Yeah, it's not.
So I call them devices, right?
Right.
So is there a chance that device they put in you could make you a zombie or make you get angry? Could it be when they turn on the 5G?
And if you got the shot in you, the 5G sends out a radiation signal to agitate your nervous system, which agitates the ability to think on its own independent apparatus to force you to be like a programmed monster. That's what this shit is. And the more the shot you took, the worse you're going to be.
Hey, look, this is some futuristic stuff. But I will say this. We got to really pay attention. Because there's some freaky stuff going on now. Like I said, now that movie Civil War I went and saw at theater a couple months ago.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the funny thing was they had a black woman at the end shoot the president. Now I said to me, this got to be some shit. Came us a lesbian at that. I said they got to be really playing this. They were running some big time sides in this movie.
Yeah.
Now they're coming out with Bad Boys 4 and Planet of the Apes and all that other stuff again. So
yeah, I went to see that.
What, Bad Boys 4?
No, I went to see Planet of the Apes.
What do you think?
It's talking about how the indigenous people, us, the original gods, from another galaxy, and are living here in our domain, and they come and destroy it with the help of other apes. The chimpanzee is the Caesar.
Yeah.
In this movie, the apes or the gorillas, or species of the chimpanzee, are in charge, and they the world was destroyed, and they take over this particular area that had a silo built into the rock with these giant steel doors that they can't open. So every day rather, at a certain time, they gather all the chimpanzees and all the people that they captured to try to break into that door. There's a group of people, humans on another part of somewhere, find out about that silo and go there and send some people out doing what the apes that got manipulated to be able to speak like humans. So she comes and tries to go. She knows what's in there, and when they get caught, she breaks away to go around the mountain to come up to the top to sneak in down through the back way. So anyway, they get inside, they open it up, and what's in there is all weapons, tanks, machine guns, tanks. And the gorilla that was in charge, he said, he was the new Caesar. He said, if we can get in there, this will help our development as apes. They will have the military weaponry to take over the world. But there's no more world. So the world that they're going to take over is all the animal kingdoms, which represents us, like the indigenous people.
That's right. Yep, that's right. Well, I'm going to say this, man. Well, we got to be careful. This world is trying to have that communist. I'm just watching, and I'm looking at this thing, and I'm saying to myself, man, when I read that book, Communist Manifesto, they got everything going down. The T is working like, man, they got this well-oiled plan. But however, I am glad to see people fighting back. Don't know how the thing will go in Mexico now. They got a Jewish president that's a woman. I thought it was very, very telling of what they're about to pull off. And of course, the last thing I'm going to say is these Jewish people are going to stop having proxies. Having people that look like us having proxies.
Yeah, they will get destroyed.
They got this thing so well out now. They can actually come out front now and open.
If they do, they're going to get killed. Because see, the Jewish people are not really the Jews; they're the isn't reallys.
Yeah.
So this is the beginning of their takedown.
That's right.
Yeah.
But so I just want you to, shout out your information. I'm glad it came on a little late.
Yes, sir.
I saw it with something going on the email, but nevertheless, go ahead. Glad to get back on. I need you to come back on. Maybe at least once or twice a month, man. Tell me what you got going on, teaching thing, at least before school starts, because we got to do a whole show, probably about half one, on some of these educating things going to school. Because these children, I'm not gonna tell you a lot, they are really in danger in these schools right now. They are really in trouble. Especially with the stuff like I said, I've never seen it this bad, man. Because when you go to, you walking in, how you walking in the park or something, and the children get out of school. The children smoking electronic cigarettes now, man.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, they smoking electronic cigarettes. They got it going on, man.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, they really got you coming and going, man.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I'm glad that, you try to teach them something. Unfortunately, like they always say, it's a tough time to be. It ain't a tough time to be a man in America, but you fighting against the women that look like you fighting against the trans, the feminists, the abortion rights, the abortionists, the clowns. You got it all going on, man.
Yeah.
But like I said, hey man, one day, man.
Yeah, it's called the Kingsman.
Yeah, that's right, the Kingsman. Hey, yo, yeah. Hey, wait a minute. I went to go see that Kingsman movie about it.
You need to see the first one.
2 years ago.
You need to see the first one. That's the one it's in.
This wasn't the one 2 years ago. This was what?
No, that's about 18, maybe 19.
Yeah. Because I saw the one in Kingdom. I went to go see that.
Yeah, you need to see the first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, so like I said, I just want you to, basically, take your time, relax. As a matter of fact, if I come down south this summer, I'll try to catch you for the school year. Maybe I stop in there. We sit and talk at the table like we did out there in Memphis.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
I mean, you out there in Charlotte. I mean, you ain't
Yeah.
going to trip or something. But if I come there, because I went to Georgia in November. Matter of fact, guess where I was at? Matter of fact, I had to go through Fulton County.
Okay.
But if I come to Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, where I went to Savannah too. Savannah and Atlanta ain't that far from Charlotte. As a matter of fact, Savannah, you just get on 95 and go back down.
95 going down.
Going South Carolina, whatever. But if I get out there, I come holler at you. I might even dock out in Charlotte and that. I don't know. But you thanks for bringing a brave soldier. Take your time.
Yeah.
Good night, and don't let them get you down, because we need people like you for the fight ahead.
All right, bro, man.
Take your time.
Peace and power.
Yes, sir. Take your time.